Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This is my boomstick.
Here's Johnny.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Righteous! Righteous! Yeah!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Houston, we have a problem.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
All right.
Welcome back, everyone, to Those Film Nerds podcast, a spooky edition, obviously. We're a little late, just a day, so we're not doing terrible, I guess. We do apologize, but as always, I'm Will Spalding, joined by my co-host Sam Dierberger. How are you doing?
We're doing quite well. We are a day late.
Yeah, that's our fault.
We didn't plan that out, but we had to get Rebecca in. I mean, come on.
We did. That was necessary.
That had a Halloween tinge to it too. So
it did. It was kind of. I mean, it was a horror thriller, kind of.
Yeah. So that's a bonus recommend. That's
it was like a fall movie for sure.
Yes. Good comfort food. I watched it in on a cold day, bundled up kind of thing.
Absolutely. Well, we do hope all of you had great Halloweens out there. But Sam, how was yours?
Mine was good.
Relaxing.
There's not much you can do, obviously, in this post-COVID world.
Sure.
But we made the best. And what'd you do, Will? Anything interesting?
Well, funny you say that, because I was on isolation in my Halloween, as I may or may not. I honestly do not know if I have COVID or not. I was exposed to it, so I've been just kind of hanging low in my dorm for now. So it was a quiet Halloween. I'll just say that.
Yeah. So after Will inevitably dies of COVID in the next week,
it's up to you.
I will be taking over the podcast.
It's just
all
up
alone.
to you.
His entire estate goes to me.
The ratings are gonna soar because I'm the reason this podcast tanks. We all know that. We're like, oh, that idiot's gone. Perfect. I'm listening. But anyway, we're gonna kind of, it's a special episode this week. We should say that we're gonna go through our favorite horror / Halloween movies, because not every Halloween movie has to be a horror movie. But not every horror movie is a Halloween movie. So we're gonna say both, / kind of Halloween theme movies, I guess. But
sure.
We're just gonna kind of go back and forth, make it a fluid discussion. We're not gonna do recommends this week, just because we're essentially giving you a bunch of recommends right off the top. So Sam, before we get into that, I should say, I do want to still talk about some industry news. Do you have anything for us this week?
Yeah. Nothing off the top of my head.
All right, I got one for you at least.
Go ahead, hit me.
The obviously great Sean Connery.
Oh yeah, we
did pass away.
I immediately knew. I was like, yep, that's right. That was the big one. Yeah,
that's the one I'm thinking of. This is sad. I mean, he was 90 years old, so it's not like we should be super upset. I mean, dude lived an awesome life, and a long one at that. Mm-hmm. But this is a bummer. I love Sean Connery. Yeah. I mean, I know you do as well. So
yeah,
this one's tough. What are your thoughts?
Well, anyone who has listened to the podcast for an extended period of time knows that I'm a big Indiana Jones person. We did an entire episode. We did an entire episode on the Indiana Jones franchise, and to me, that's how I'll always remember Sean Connery, because I never got super into 007 James Bond. So, knowing that he's gone, and obviously playing Henry Jones Sr. in Last Crusade, that's where it kind of hits me, you know.
Sure.
And also knowing this really pains me, is not a lot of people know this, but Sean Connery was only like 10 years older than Harrison Ford. Or 10.
Harrison Ford's getting up there.
It'd be 12. Yeah, 12 years older than Harrison Ford while starring as his father in Last Crusade. So then it made me realize collaterally, like, oh no.
Yeah.
12 years, Harrison. Come on. You know, but
that is funny. You know, it's even funnier is that Sean Connery has looked as old as he did when he died, when he was in Last Crusade. Like
40 years ago.
Yeah. He at some point he decided to hit age 65, and then he hit age 65 when he was 50, and then just didn't age after that. He's like, I'm done now.
That's a good deal. I'd take that.
I would take that too.
I'd skip right to 65.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I haven't actually seen any of his Bond, although I was meaning to get to them before No Time to Die comes out. There are so many though, so that might be some effort on my part if I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna try. And then obviously his role as Indiana's dad is iconic, and that's my favorite Jones movie. So
yeah,
I think it's this one hurts, but it's he lived a long life, and gave us a lot, so we can't be too upset about it.
Right. One of these days, Will, we should one of these years, we should say one of these years, we should watch the entire 007 franchise and go Bond by Bond.
Oh,
that would be a project and a half.
That would be. Each get their individual episode?
Yes, each Bond.
That I think there's 25, so or No Time to Die is going to be 25. So that'll be interesting.
Well, no. I'm saying like each actor who has played Bond. I believe there's like 7 of them.
Oh, I see. Okay, so we do a Connery episode, we do a Roger Moore episode, we do a Craig episode. Okay, all right, I like that idea. That'd be fun. That would be fun. We pin them against each other, make them fight to the death.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I like it. Cool. Well, look forward to that in 5 years. That should be fun.
Yep. That's going to take some time.
But Sam, do you have anything else? It was a pretty slow week. These past 2 weeks have been not much going on in the industry.
Yeah, there's a movie called The Dig that is, I think, in post-production right now, starring Ralph Fiennes, playing kind of like an archaeologist almost. It's called The Dig, and the first images of it has been released, and it looks somewhat interesting. Mostly because Ralph Fiennes is an incredible actor.
Oh gosh.
And yeah, that's about it. But I'm kind of excited for that.
Sure.
It's kind of got an Indiana Jones look going on, so
good.
That should be it.
Yeah, I know we're both fans of Ralph Fiennes, and anything with archaeology. Archaeology is just good in general.
It is.
You could make so many good movies off of that. I'm surprised there isn't more plot lines to do with that.
As a child, I wanted to be an archaeologist until I found out that it doesn't involve fighting Nazis. So that was disappointing.
You're like,
I was like, I can't do this.
I guess Jordan Peele is producing a movie called The People Under the Stairs, which is a remake of a Wes Craven horror film. I'm sure Wes Craven will come up tonight. I mean, he's a classic director, but
yeah.
What's your thought on Jordan Peele? Let's talk about him for a minute as he's now producing.
Well, I mean, yeah, he is it does fit nicely into today's subject matter, I suppose.
Yeah, let's just give a 5 minutes on Jordan Peele. Why not?
Jordan Peele has had perhaps one of the most interesting careers in the entertainment industry
Oh gosh.
that we've seen today, because him and Keegan-Michael Key, I mean, there's no question that together they were comedic geniuses. I mean, some of those Key and Peele skits are
Beyond funny.
remarkable comedy.
Yes.
Like, there's some that are not only absolutely hilarious, but also the writing is very good. The messaging is incredible. How they're able to layer like social commentary onto their comedy. It's truly masterful. And then after that, Jordan Peele decides to do his own thing and just start pursuing a horror career
Yeah.
out of nowhere. Like,
And he just makes
and,
Get Out.
makes two pretty great movies. Just writing and directing them, and then now he's just producing all sorts of stuff. He's
Yeah.
producing the next iteration of the Twilight Zone, which I think I mentioned before. I think the Twilight Zone, the original series, is one of the greatest ever. And just really working in his own mold, but also being able to make something that's so commercially successful. It's really impressive. It's incredible.
Absolutely. I mean, and he's producing the new Candyman movie as well. I think that was slated for November, but I think it got pushed. Oh, it was September, then November. I think it's probably like March next year now. But yeah, he's busy. Yeah. He's a busy guy, and I hope, you know, I'm fine with him producing things, but I hope he starts writing, directing again soon, because, you know, I love Get Out, obviously, and Us I wasn't too keen on, but it's still obvious even through Us how talented he is as a writer director. Probably more so as a writer, but yeah, he's great. So I think anything Peele wants to do, I'll be there for. And like you said, that his comedy is fantastic too. Yes. And it's crazy that he's able to do comedy so well and horror so well, because those are complete opposite spectrums.
Well, I saw an interview with him once where he argued that horror and comedy are very similar.
Okay.
And it was he like the writing process was very similar to both, because I think, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but the way he kind of articulated it was, with both genres, you want the audience to be shocked about something within themselves. Something to that effect. And that makes sense. Especially the kind of horror that Jordan Peele puts together, right? It's very, it makes you think about your social standing and your privileges or your preconceptions about the world. And that's kind of his horror genre. It has a social commentary bend to it. And also, with his comedy, obviously, it's also very much about modern culture and society and hierarchies and all that. So it actually does make sense that he's able to translate that so well. It's just that so few people have been able to do that before him. Like, he's really a trailblazer in that respect.
Yeah. No, I agree with you in that manner. I'm surprised at how well he has transitioned. And so quickly too. You know, it was an instant turnaround, because Get Out was a huge success. So was Us, critically and commercially. So yeah, I mean, Jordan Peele's great. We can both agree with that, and I'm sure. I guess that's a good transition. Should we just talk about, or should we go into our list? I don't know what you have formed. We haven't.
Yeah, I just put together like several movies that are kind of scary and I guess appropriate for Halloween-ish time. I mean, people still have Halloween hangover. Like, they still want to. There's people out there listening who are still looking for spooky stuff. So yeah, let me pull up my list here. Do you have a list prepared or anything, Will, or are you just shooting from the hip here?
I do have a, you know, I said I had 7. I'm gonna say I have 8 now. But,
okay.
three honorable mentions, and then I'm just gonna hit a top 5. Honorable mentions, I'll
Okay.
just go through real quick. If you wanna pull yours up
go
a
through
little bit.
those. Go through those because I don't have honorable mentions.
Sure. I wasn't going to include it, but I guess I'll say honorable mention Get Out, and the only reason, because Get Out is one of my favorite movies of all time, but the only reason I wasn't going to say it is it's more thriller to me than horror.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily necessitate, or you need to watch it around Halloween. So I'll just say that I'll just mention Get Out. It's a great movie, not really horror though.
Right.
So now these are all Halloween, but I'm going to mention It, the remake from 2015. That sounds right.
Yeah,
no, 2017.
2017.
I love it.
Yep.
It's great, and remake the sequel not so much, but the first It in 2017 really blew me away. I didn't revisit it this year, although I did over the summer, I believe. Last summer.
Okay.
It's been maybe a year since I've seen it, but really great movie and pretty legitimately scary. Bill Skarsgård is absolutely incredible as Pennywise. Moving on, second honorable mention, I'll say Ghostbusters.
Okay.
This one doesn't really need to be watched at Halloween, but since there's ghosts and monsters and ghouls, I'll say Ghostbusters.
Sure.
Again, it's been a little while since I've seen it, but I love Ghostbusters, and Bill Murray's absolutely fantastic. I'm excited for Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I think comes out next year. I'm really not sure, honestly, at this point. Who knows with anything?
Yeah.
But Ghostbusters is legitimately funny, and even though Dan Aykroyd is in it, it's not terrible, which just tells you how great Ghostbusters really is. I'm sorry, Dan Aykroyd.
Everyone knows that Will is just a massive Dan Aykroyd fan.
I know.
Just
yeah.
loves Dan Aykroyd.
You seen Coneheads?
No. Why would I do that with my time? Come on.
Yeah, those will be my honorable mentions. I'll just Get Out, It, and Ghostbusters.
Okay.
So,
Okay. That's fair.
Do you have a top 5, Sam?
I do have a top 5. I don't know if it's in any particular order.
Okay.
And I suspect that we might have at least one overlap. That's just my guess.
I was curious how many overlaps we would have. I wasn't sure if it would be all of them or just a few.
All of them? Yeah, I don't know.
So let's hear your number 5, and then we'll go my 5, your 4, and continuation.
Okay, my number 5 is gonna be The Babadook, which is actually an Australian horror film from 2014, directed by Jennifer Kent, who also wrote the screenplay. And I only include this. It's not, usually what we look for when we look for horror is, at least I do. I look for kind of something that transcends just simple jump scares and kind of a cohesive theme, like what Jordan Peele does. But with The Babadook, it's not so much that. It's just that it's like one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I just was absolutely terrified by this.
Interesting. I'm looking at this now. It looks interesting. Yeah.
It's freaking terrifying. And
how'd you come across this?
it was my brother had seen it at a friend's house or something, and he was just absolutely scarred by it. So I had to watch it, and
Sure.
it was like I was like, what? It's terrifying, man. It's
Interesting.
terrifying.
Good. Nice. There you go. The Babadook.
But yeah, that's about it.
Okay. I guess I'll hit my 5 now. I added that to my list. That's interesting.
Okay. I'm surprised you haven't seen it yet.
I have not. So my number 5, although I'm not a huge fan of the director, I think he's a bit weird, and I think we can all agree with that. Of course, the man I'm referring to is the horror, maybe genius, maybe not, Tim Burton.
Whoa.
But I do really enjoy Beetlejuice. 1989's Beetlejuice, I want to say. But I think Beetlejuice, you know, it's not. It is 1988. It's not really scary. More a comedy and showing Michael Keaton, basically just showing him off. But
Yeah.
Beetlejuice is awesome. I think I think the costumes are just funny. Maybe I just remember or thinking they were funny when I was a kid, and I still think they're funny now.
Yeah.
But I think Beetlejuice is great. It's an interesting plot and definitely worth a watch for anyone who hasn't seen it. So Beetlejuice is my number 5, and which is odd for me because I don't think Tim Burton's that great, but I do like Beetlejuice.
It's an interesting pick. I mean, when I was a child, now we're getting into deep dark secrets territory, but when I was a child, there was a VHS that we had like when I was really young, and I forget what the actual movie was, but during, you know, VHSs back in the day, they would have previews at the beginning of like upcoming releases.
Yep.
But by that point, they had been released for like 12 years. But back then, there was a preview of Beetlejuice on there. And when I was a young child, I saw this trailer. I thought it was like the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. I had no idea it was a comedy. It was until probably 4 or 5 years ago that I realized that Beetlejuice was actually supposed to be a comedy. Yeah, and like up until that, I just always assumed it was one of the scariest films ever made.
A 4-year-old Sam is horrified. Beetlejuice is pretty funny. I don't think it's scary at all. I
never watched it.
I guess Sam's like out. I guess the guys look kind of creepy, but it's not scary. It's just funny. So it's definitely it'll be a nice change of pace if you're only watching horror.
Okay.
To throw it in.
But
Sam, what's your number 4?
Okay, number 4, I'm gonna go Shutter Island, directed by Martin Scorsese, 2010. And now this one is kind of on the edge as to whether or not. Well, I think it is a horror film.
I support this choice.
Thank you. It's a psychological thriller. I mean, at the very least. And I was pretty on edge when I was watching it. So, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio gives an absolutely fantastic performance. It kind of centers around basically a ex-World War II veteran who is now a U.S. Marshal, and he goes to investigate a missing patient on an island that holds basically an insane asylum, and that's it. So it's kind of it's like a escape from the loony bin kind of thing, and it has a good like dark tone. It has a great atmosphere, and I just really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's kind of Scorsese, just I guess kind of expanding his palette and making something you wouldn't really expect from him, and it's a very well made film.
Oh, absolutely. It's very underrated too. You know, I feel like it doesn't get mentioned when you hear Scorsese. So, yeah, that's a great pick, and it has a wonderful twist at the end. So
yes, good twist, good cerebral horror, I suppose.
Yeah, I support that choice. I like that pick, and Shutter Island is a great movie. So,
thank you.
Where does that rank among your Scorsese?
I think it used to be up there, and then I watched pretty much all of Scorsese, and now it's like number 7 or something. But yeah, I used to think Scorsese was overrated. Nope. One of my favorite directors. We should do a retrospective on him sometime. That'd be a lot of fun. But
absolutely, yeah.
Shutter Island, 2010.
There you go. So my number 4 is probably maybe a bit cliche, but is probably also the definitive slasher, or at least what started the slasher genre, to be at the very least.
Oh, here we go.
It's it's Halloween.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think you
Okay.
were thinking I was gonna say
No, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
but yeah, Halloween is great. I love Halloween. You know, and the first time I watched it, it was interesting because I was like, well, that's just a bunch of tropes. Like that was I don't
Yeah.
know if I like that. I just
Yeah.
because there's a bunch of tropes. But then like last year I went on this like because I hadn't seen a lot of the classic horrors, and so I saw Halloween, and then I went back and watched a bunch of others that came after it, and then I came to the realization that it was like, well, wait, this is all the tropes are gained from Halloween,
Right.
which
right.
makes it so that in the moment in 1978 it wasn't a trope.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that's where Halloween separates itself from a lot of like the Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, which I still enjoy both of those. They're definitely not as good as Halloween, but so I think that's where Halloween allows itself to be considered one of the great horrors because it was a genre definer in my opinion. So Halloween is one of my favorites. It's nice and quick too.
Yeah.
And maybe the sequel shouldn't have happened. I'll just say that. But the original is very fun. Not too scary because it's still in our 2020 eyes is still kind of a bit cliche and overloaded with tropes. But in the time,
Yes.
I'm sure and it still holds up quite well. So
Yeah. Yeah. Halloween, the Halloween franchise is one of the most bizarre franchises in movie history because there are so many. There's prequels and there's sequels, and then there's like half remakes, half
or
sequels,
reboots.
and like it is a mess. It is just an absolute mess.
I wouldn't want to understand that timeline.
No. It's worse than Tenet, believe it or not. It's horrible.
Whoa, that's saying something.
Yeah. Briefly, I will say I think I didn't get Halloween. Like I understood the plot and everything, but like I didn't get it. You know, I didn't really feel it at any real level.
Okay.
I thought Jamie Lee Curtis's performance was kind of bad.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, she was what, 18?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but still.
No, I get. I know what you're saying. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, but the we should mention that opening scene is still terrifying to this day.
Yes.
The POV through the mask.
Yeah,
that's all we'll say.
There are some legitimately scary moments in Halloween. So.
Yes.
And I think
still hold up.
I think another Halloween is coming out next year.
Oh my god.
We can't let it die, Sam. We can't let it. It's like Halloween, It Kills Again or something like that. It's a horrible title.
We have to revive Mike Myers and keep him alive.
I'm pretty sure it's called Halloween, It Kills Again. But at this point we should just call it Halloween, Let's Not Let It Die.
Yeah. Let's not let it die. Come on, we can get a little more out of this franchise still. Come on.
Let's make another $60
million. A little
$60
more money. There's still those diehards out there who will go to the theater to see this piece of garbage.
Is Jamie Lee Curtis available? Like, she hasn't done anything since the last Halloween. Perfect, get her.
Yeah, she was in the last one. That's why I'm so confused because it was like, I don't know.
I know.
Bizarre, absolutely bizarre franchise. But yeah, if nothing else, you should watch Halloween to understand where a lot of these tropes came from.
Absolutely.
I would equate it it's like the Shakespeare of modern cinema. You know, like you read Shakespeare, like you read Romeo and Juliet, and you're like, well, this is so cliche. And it's like, yeah, that's because he invented all the cliches.
Yeah.
That's what Halloween did for horror movies in the later part of the 20th century.
Agreed. That's a good way to put it. But actually, Romeo and Juliet is bad.
I disagree, but that's fine.
What's your
depends
number
on which
3?
adaptation. My number 3 is going to be Hereditary, Ari Aster, 2017. This movie blew me away.
Mm.
I had been recommended it for years leading up to me actually watching it last year. It's phenomenal. Toni Collette gives 2017, I'm trying to think about the Oscars, but if the Academy was impartial, they should have given the Oscar to Toni Collette because her ability to display, they're completely impartial. Yeah. But her ability to display just a multitude of different emotions during this film is incredible. It's some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life. Gabriel Byrne's performance is good.
He's
young.
very good.
Yeah, he is. He's underrated. He's very much underrated.
Yeah.
Gabriel Byrne. Yeah, and the daughter, Millie Shapiro, plays Charlie Graham, and she is surprisingly very good. As a child actor, she's quite young. Man, this is essential viewing. It's essential viewing. Absolutely terrifying. Great thematic messages about grief and family dynamics, and it's very well made.
Yeah, Ari Aster is. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Hereditary, but he is legitimately one of the best up and coming directors after Hereditary, which is obviously well made, just not for me. And Midsommar, which is extremely well made and is for me. So
really, okay.
I love Midsommar, but and both of those, they're not exactly, traditional horrors that are gonna like make you jump out of your seat scared, because there's not jump scares. They're just legitimately terrifying.
Yes.
Imagery and commentary. So,
right.
Yeah, great pick there. Was that your number 3?
That was my number 3.
Okay, so, I will. I'll hit my number 3 right now. Then.
Okay.
Okay. My number 3 was 2018. From a man that couldn't seem to catch a break in his career out of John Krasinski, and then he came out and made A Quiet Place. And I remember hearing like rumors about this movie leading up to it before I went to see it in theaters, and it was like it's completely quiet, and I was like, what does that even mean? Right. Completely quiet. How does that work? But it wasn't a silent film. Like I knew that too. Went and saw it in theaters, and I was blown away. Completely blown away. I thought, I thought it probably should have been nominated for Best Picture that year. It definitely should have been nominated for more things than it was. And who doesn't like Emily Blunt? I mean, come on.
Come on.
But yeah, Quiet Place is absolutely fantastic. Very, or not, I'll say it's pretty scary. There's some, there's some intense scenes, and, the utilization of no sound is absolutely, like, it's kind of remarkable that a movie with almost no sound is able to still convey a story.
Right.
Because there is no dialogue aside from a few number of scenes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I'm very excited for the new one, and I'm sure we'll do an episode on it.
Yeah, remember like a year ago when that trailer came out?
That was too long ago. I don't remember.
That was like a year ago, and the trailer came out. And we're like, all right, this spring it's happening, and then boom,
April.
It's still sitting in the vault.
Well, I think A Quiet Place Part 2 was like the second movie to pull after No Time to Die. I think.
Yeah, because that was supposed to have because the first one was such a sleeper hit.
It was, yeah, absolutely.
And so it was projected to make big numbers at the box office. But yeah, I will say about A Quiet Place, it's not like a traditional horror film, because the sense of mystery really isn't there. Like, what's in most of those scenes, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the suspense is so well built up.
Yes.
Like, I remember watching it in a theater and looking into my popcorn bucket at certain scenes because I just couldn't handle.
It's
I
very
knew what was
intense.
about to happen, but I could not handle the nerves of the aliens actually striking.
It's
in this-
yes,
it's so
Well,
suspenseful, if
and
you
it
think
starts
about
off on such a bang that right
Yes.
after you're like, what just happened? Like, did that actually?
it. Yeah.
So, yeah, A Quiet Place is truly great. And I guess Krasinski can direct, so that's cool to see.
Yeah, apparently.
But let's hear your number 2.
My number 2 is what I thought you were alluding to earlier with Halloween. Unfortunately, I was wrong. But when you said the movie that invented the slasher genre, I would beg to differ. I would say Psycho invented the slasher genre.
Nice.
Quite literally with the knife in the shower.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
you know, I had to put this on this on the list. This is obligatory. I think it pushed the bound. Psycho pushed the bounds of what movies could do. And I think that, you know, if you think about it in a historical context, this movie was the definition of a sleeper hit. It had a minimal budget. Hitchcock was shooting it in black and white, which in the early 60s was considered kind of passé or old-fashioned. And everyone was like, what is Hitchcock doing? Is he taking a step back in his career? And it's like, no, he's creating something absolutely remarkable. So, Psycho, you need to see it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my top 10. And I was going to talk about this later, but I guess I might as well just say it now. I did not put it on my list for one reason, because I just figured it'd be cheating. I mean, this is obviously
It'd be cheating.
This is obviously the greatest horror movie of all time. And it's clearly you need to be watching this every year. So I didn't put it on just for that reason. I guess it would be number 1 and everything else could just be moved down one place, but I decided to leave it off.
Sure.
I think Psycho is so much more than just a horror though. Like it not only revolutionized horror, sure, but like it just took filmmaking and techniques and what you can show in a movie to the next level.
Yes.
You know, with showing blood and nudity, and I've never seen that before. So I think it represents so much more than just a horror movie. So
yeah.
Psycho's absolutely fantastic. Great pick.
I think you recommended it like a couple weeks ago.
I think I did, yeah. So there you go. If you haven't seen it yet,
we will probably. There's no doubt that we will recommend it again because
for sure
it's so. Anyway, moving on. What is your number 2, Will?
Yeah, my number 2 is one I don't think you like at all. So this will be interesting.
Oh no!
We'll see. This is one of my mom's favorite movies. So maybe I just have a ton of nostalgia built up for it as I was forced to watch it every year. Although I legitimately enjoy it.
Oh no!
It's Hocus Pocus.
Oh,
An audible sigh, but Hocus. You know, this is probably the first year that I haven't seen Hocus Pocus.
Okay, that's funny because I saw Hocus Pocus earlier this month at a drive-in.
You did. I remember that. I remember you telling me about it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Hocus Pocus, obviously, again, not it's more like Beetlejuice. It's not a horror. It's more of a comedy. But I think there's just so much. So if you haven't seen Hocus Pocus before, probably won't like it, which pains me to say, because I just have so much nostalgia built up for it. But if you have seen Hocus Pocus before, definitely go back and rewatch it. I see no reason why you won't enjoy it just as much as you did when you were younger, if you did enjoy it. But I love Hocus Pocus. It's just it's very funny to me. Probably lowbrow humor, but I don't care. And I love Hocus Pocus. So there you go. That's my number 2.
Here's what I will say in praise of Hocus Pocus, and I think this is kind of ultra specific, but it's fine. I think that if you watch Hocus Pocus on Halloween, like the day of Halloween, it works really well. Because I've seen it on Halloween a couple of times, and it the whole atmosphere of like, the local high school and getting out of class and getting excited, the joy of being in high school on Halloween and going out and finding a haunted location like that all like plays with your emotions really
Good
well.
atmosphere.
Yes.
Yeah, and
excellent atmosphere.
this is legitimately a Halloween movie. It takes place on Halloween, and so
Yes. And it's fine. But
that on the poster. It's fine.
Yeah. It's fine. But like if I couldn't understand someone who's like, yeah, I'm just gonna watch this in July or something. Like,
No, I would never do that. But I think I saw it every year around Halloween time. So that's how much like it just
okay.
just love watching it growing up. So there you go.
It's a novelty. It's a novelty enjoyable film.
There we go.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Sam, what is are we on number ones? Are we on
We're on number one already. My God.
Yeah, there we go. All right, we're cruising. Number one. What you got for us?
We got this is a big one for me. We got Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, 1980. Had to put it on here again, like Psycho. Maybe it's kind of contrived because it's like such an obvious pick.
Yeah.
But The Shining again is so much more than a horror movie. I wouldn't say it like redefined what horror is, but it transcended the genre for sure. The acting is incredible. The soundtrack is terrifying and so well put together. The atmosphere of isolation and cabin fever and writer's block and the messaging that was able to be put through, and the story that grips you, even though the runtime is quite long. You're constantly invested in the characters. You're constantly on edge. And it also works really well. I guess it works better maybe in the middle of the winter. I know last year when we started a film club, we waited until like the middle of winter to be able to watch The Shining, which was probably the right move. But, I think it works well on Halloween. I've seen it in October, so right around that time, and it works well. But yeah, The Shining, huge for me.
Yeah, great pick. I totally forgot about The Shining. Forgot it was a movie when I was making this list. Yeah, The Shining would obviously be on my list as well if I remembered. But yeah, The Shining's great, and I think both of us have our opinions on Kubrick, but that doesn't detract from the fact that The Shining is an awesome movie. And whether it stays true to its source material doesn't really matter because Kubrick just makes it his own and does so much with it.
Right.
And obviously Nicholson is fantastic with so Shining is great. Have you seen Dr. Sleep, Sam?
I have, yes.
What's your minute review on Dr. Sleep?
Dr. Sleep is well made, works for a certain audience. For a general audience as a horror film, it's not that great.
Okay. Yeah, I think Dr. Sleep is okay. I just don't think it needs to happen as well.
Right.
Did anyone ask what happened to the kid from The Shining? I don't think anyone asked that.
Exactly.
So,
and it was it might be worth a visit if you're maybe into horror. That's what I think the audience for it is someone who's into horror but not necessarily like a Shining diehard.
Okay. Sure.
Because I think for a general audience it might be too confusing, and for oh my God, you can't do that. This is blasphemy. You can't, recreate that scene or No.
I think that's kind of where I was while watching it. And Ewan McGregor's good too. He's good in it. It's missing something that The Shining had. And maybe that's Kubrick, who knows. So
Right.
Right. But yeah, The Shining is legitimately great and quite scary at points.
Yes.
So
at points. It's a build-up.
is it my number one now?
It's your number one already.
There we go. Well, this pick is also pretty obvious. It should kind of come to no surprise to everyone. It's more recent, but it's I think it's kind of a universal. Everyone loves this movie. It's 2020's Hubie Halloween. So it's perfect movie. Sandler absolutely crushes, and it's just this. You can't beat it.
The twist at the end. The twist was unbelievable.
Yeah. How many
leave you speechless.
How many times have I seen it this year? 5, 6? I don't know.
I don't know, but it is a triumph of the human condition. Exactly. It is
agreed. But no, in all seriousness, Hubie Halloween is it's like 6. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. It's still up there. It's very close.
Yeah. It's close. It's just not God tier.
Yeah.
Sure.
But my number one on this list is one of my. It is probably my favorite horror movie if you discount The Shining and Psycho, which I think of more as horror or more than horror, I should say. But it is Wes Craven, who I mentioned earlier, and it is his parody horror movie, but still horror, Scream.
Oh wow! Okay.
I love Scream. I've seen it probably five times in my life, 5, 6, 7, maybe. I don't know. I've seen it a lot. The sequels not as great, but still pretty funny, still pretty good. And
sure.
Scream is just so clever to me. You know all the horror, like the Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, Halloween, Evil Dead, all those classics. It just pokes fun at everything they do while still taking itself seriously. Scream doesn't just keep making fun of itself and keep making fun of other things. It still does tell you a story, and it still does try to scare you, but it also does make you laugh because it is a complete play on everything that is horror related. So I think it's just so funny and so clever that I just love Scream. And
it's such a tough line to walk, right? Being able to make something that is self-aware, but also still engaging for the audience and being invested in the story itself rather than the parody that's going on.
Yeah.
And Scream is able to do both. And that, I think, has not been accomplished significantly since. You know what I mean?
Yes, agreed.
It's kind of its own breed. Yeah, I like Scream. It's funny. It's dark. It's pretty witty. And it is kind of scary at points.
It is, yeah. That's what I'm saying by.
And I guess it would be perfect for Halloween. It is the ultimate like teenager Halloween movie because you can sit around as teenagers and watch teenagers on a screen be self-aware about the horror situation that they're in, and it's very meta in that respect.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's what I meant. Like it's still scary, so it doesn't take itself like. It doesn't just keep making fun of itself because it still tries to scare you a little bit. And I the first time I watched it, I think the ending is legitimately good and well executed as well. I mean, it's we won't get into specifics there, but I think the ending also. I think that's what seals it for me. Is it still it defies your expectations, I guess.
Yeah, very satisfactory. Very satisfactory on the ending.
For sure.
So, yeah.
I guess that's
that-
it. I mean, do you
that
have any
was
more
our-
thoughts?
That was our review. I don't know. I think we covered some good ones. I was constantly surprised by your list, Will.
I
Actually,
wanted
you
to
kept
add
me
some-
guessing.
Yeah, I wanted to, well, I had to throw in Hubie Halloween, but I wanted to throw in
Yes.
some picks that I didn't think you would expect. I needed to keep you
I
on
did
your
not
toes.
expect them.
Needed to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, per our usual arrangement, I cannot see twists coming. So I was like,
That's what
like,
this whole episode
what?
was.
What? Yeah. But yeah, I did the dirty work and named the obvious ones, and
Oh, hey, somebody had to.
Will just went ahead and nailed like some of the high level interesting diverse picks that we could pull out of the Halloween ether. I suppose that was quite a sentence.
I would say though that both of us would agree all movies mentioned are worth at least one watch.
Oh, absolutely.
If nothing else, to at least just experience what it is. So
yeah.
So like we said earlier, not gonna do recommends for this week. We just gave you a bunch. Go check all these out. Even though we're a little bit late, it's still fine. You can still watch them.
Yeah. Or wait till next year. Write the list down.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. But Sam, do we have anything else for this episode?
Well, I hope everyone had a safe Halloween, had a fun Halloween. We're not old yet. Let's say a fun Halloween. It's only
There we
old
go.
people be safe,
For
Screw
sure.
your safe.
And
But I hope everyone had a fun Halloween, and yeah.
absolutely. And I don't know what we're going to be doing as of right now next week. The release schedule is so screwed up. Who knows what's happening at any given point?
Right.
2 weeks from now, I know.
What I looked at, Will, I don't know if we want to discuss this on there, but oh well. What I looked at on the Rocks, Sofia Coppola.
Nice. Yes. Let's do
Yeah.
On the Rocks next week.
Okay, that sounds good. That
On
should
the
be an
Rocks.
interesting discussion.
Of course, is on Apple TV Plus, I believe. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So On the Rocks, obviously directed by Sofia Coppola, starring Bill Murray and Rashida Jones.
Yes.
Piques my interest. Should be
Looks
pretty
promising. Looks promising.
good. So yeah, we'll do On the Rocks next week. The week after, actually, we might be going back to the theater. Sam? Question mark.
Finally.
Ammonite, the new Kate
Yes.
Winslet and Saoirse Ronan movie is out in theaters November 13th. So we'll see if we can get that one the week after, but it'll probably be delayed. Let's be honest. So
Sure.
until next week with On the Rocks, Sam.
Where can you find me on Letterboxd?
Oh,
Is that your question? Or did you screw up the order? Oh,
I screwed up the order. Good catch.
Oh,
Where can I find you
screwed
on
up the
Letterboxd?
ritual on Halloween?
I
Oh,
know,
God.
man. I got too excited.
The witches are gonna come for you.
They will. They are going to. But where can I
you
find you on
can,
Letterboxd?
you can find me on Letterboxd at sjdierberger. And where can I find you, Will?
You can find me on Letterboxd as well at Will Spalding. And you can find us scaring little children and taking their candy on Halloween nights. Actually,
Of
just
course.
that's what we do.
What else can we do? What else can we do?
But you can also find us at anchor.fm/thosefilmnerds or Those Film Nerds on any podcast platform and YouTube, or Those Film Nerds on Instagram, or thosefilmnerds@gmail.com, and send us any information about any movie ever, and we'll get back to you. Or questions
Of
about the
course.
show or anything regarding movies. So
Anything really.
I think I got it all now. So Sam, until next time,
Keep watching movies, everyone. Have a great week.
thank you, everyone.
Ever thought about making a podcast? Well, Anchor is the easiest and simplest way to do so. Let me explain. For starters, it's free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, laptop, or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on multiple platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and much, much more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place. So give it a try.